How we build and protect your wealth. Your money should never depend on one person, not even your advisor. At Black Numbers Law, every rupee you invest is held in your own name, directly with the mutual fund houses through CAMS and K-Fintech. Nothing sits with us, and nothing is locked inside a broker's demat account. We manage the entire experience with two reputed platforms, Creso and Asset Plus, a SEBI-regulated platforms that are backed by Nippon and Zerodha, respectively, so your dashboard, your statements, and your servicing continue smoothly no matter what happens, and independent of any single individual. Because your holdings live in your own name rather than inside a demat account, we can also build your family into the plan. Your spouse, your nominees, and even your children can hold their own mapped accounts, with children beginning as early as age 1. The people you trust always know where your investments are and how they are managed, but with only you being the controller. So, no uncertainty in the family ever disrupts what you have built, and each of them can begin their own journey in their own account. As there is no broker in the middle, there is no mandatory maintenance charge that could one day restrict access to your own holdings. Your access stays clean and unconditional. BNL Portfolios. 2 engines, 2 very different jobs. Money is not all invested for the same reason, so we do not invest it all in the same way. We run 2 distinct engines alongside each other. The first is the BNL Bucket Method, the core engine that compounds your long-term wealth while keeping the journey far calmer than the market. The second is the Life Event Strategic Pool, a separate and very different discipline, built not on your own savings but on the intelligent use of credit, the way large family wealth has quietly been built for generations. The BNL Bucket Method. The machinery under the bonnet, a portfolio, in our view, is not a list of good funds. It is a set of jobs, each filled by the category best suited to it. The Bucket Method assembles 7 sleeves, and everyone earns its place by doing something the others cannot. Mid-cap and small-cap equity form the growth core that compounds hardest over long horizons. Dividend yield equity is the sideways market anchor, drawing buyers back as falling prices lift its yield. Balanced advantage is the volatility compressor. Floating rate is both a cushion and the dry powder we hold in reserve. Aggressive hybrid adds a second layer of debt protection. And a small, permanent holding in gold and silver is the inflation and crash hedge that tends to rise precisely when equities fall. Notably, the real elegance shows itself in a crash. Because each sleeve falls for a different reason, they never fall together, so a steep decline in the index becomes a far shallower dip in your portfolio. And a shallow dip is not just comfortable, it is stored ammunition. The calm sleeves that cushion the fall are then fired into the correction at pre-agreed index levels, buying the market's steepest recoveries at a discount. That single move turns defense into attack. Historically, in our backtesting, this approach delivered 17.5% XIRR a year, including 3% to 4% of alpha earned by redeploying those reserves into corrections, with gold adding a further 3% whenever its own cycle turns in our favor. The principle beneath them is durable. Assets that behave differently from one another can lift return and lower risk at the same time. Meanwhile, the Life Event Strategic Pool, turning borrowed money into its own hedge. The Life Event Strategic Pool is a different discipline entirely, drawn from the way high-net-worth families have built wealth for generations. They build with borrowed money, not only their own, and they make that borrowing work twice. For example, suppose you are buying an asset worth 50 lakh. You bring 20 lakh of your own and borrow the remaining 30 lakh. Now, if your lender is willing to extend a little more, say 35 lakh, or if you can manage to arrange an additional 5 lakh to fund your investment, just 5 lakh above what you strictly need, you take that extra 5 lakh and place it into the Life Event Strategic Pool. Crucially, that one small step changes the character of the entire loan. The pool is built deliberately for liquidity and protection, a shielded blend designed to stay calm through market falls while compounding at around 12% to 13% comfortably. So the extra 5 lakh you borrowed never sits idle. It quietly does 2 jobs at once. Firstly, It becomes your safety net. Because the pool stays liquid and shielded, it is available at any time. If a stretch ever comes when your regular income cannot comfortably meet the loan, this pool is right there, ready for repayment. A backup you created at the very start, out of the loan itself. Secondly, and this is the quiet genius of it, that borrowed 5 lakh grows to pay your interest for you. At around 12%, its growth over the life of the loan can come close to covering the entire interest you pay on the 35 lakh you borrowed. The math is simple. The returns at 12% compounding over 20 years recovers the interest component on a loan 6 times its size. A small, deliberate piece of borrowed money can therefore neutralize the cost of the borrowing that funded it, while remaining fully liquid as your repayment shield. In short, that is the life event planner. Borrowed money, placed with intent, made to hedge itself. Finally, the comparisons below show exactly where that line sits. At an assumed 12% over 20 years, the same 5 lakh grows to 48.2 lakh, a gain of 43.2 lakh. Against a 30 lakh loan, that gain covers the full 39.4 lakh of interest and still leaves a little to spare, earning about 1.1 times what the loan costs. And that's the life event strategic pool, your insurance to EMI and a hedge against borrowing costs, achieved at just a fraction of the investment.